Here we go. Morning, Les.
Good morning, David.
How are you this morning?
Yeah, peachy keen.
I think I told you, I'm pretty excited. I have struggled with sleep for a few weeks, and sleep is probably the #1 factor as far as quality of life, but also in chronic pain. We'll be talking about sleep going forward, but got a good night's sleep last night. My autonomic nervous system is good, and I feel great. It's really amazing how much a good night's sleep makes. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's one of those amazing benefits of the mind and the body. When you get that rest, everything seems to function better, right? So
Right. So today's topic is I just want to start simplifying the entire chronic pain process. When I say simplifying, I mean breaking it up into parts so you can look at the different parts individually. So it's a complex problem, but if you break it into its parts, it's actually a very solvable problem. So every living creature, from a bacteria to a human being, has an issue of staying alive. And there's three parts. There's your environment or immediate circumstances. They're either neutral, safe, or dangerous. Then you have actually the state of your nervous system. Is it relaxed, calm, or hyper alert? And then the final thing is the output, which Dr. Arias taught me a lot about, where it's a steady body's chemistry. Also, Dr. Stephen Porges and Sue Carter and Dr. Clausen, where the bottom line, the state of your quality of life on a given day depends on the state of your body's chemistry. And it can be either neutral, safe, or under threat. And another way of saying that, you can either just be in neutral or homeostasis, or what we call fight or flight, which you know the term, and then or feel rest and digest or safe. And so when you're feeling safe or neutral, life is good. When you're under threat, life doesn't feel so good. So that's the context that will be going forward. And I'll just make one quick example, then we turn over to Dr. Arya, in that I had a good night's sleep. That actually changes my nervous system. So I can take much more abuse today from Dr. Arya than I usually do. So bring it on.
I was waiting for that one liner.
I was trying to resist, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, you might be moving into threat at this point.
Ooh, okay.
So it's all right.
I've been in threat for a long time, so I'm pretty good at this.
That's all good. I'm in neutral, David. So
really, okay.
All right. Yes. So I think what would be good. One of the things I wanted to comment on that, I think that's it's wonderful that we kind of have a nice outline of how the nervous system is, how the chemistry responds to the environment, to a threat. One of the things I think would be helpful for the audience to know is how do they know when they're in what state? How does it show up in their body? And it's a very important training that, and by the way, David, I'll be offering that sort of training in the immersion workshop coming up this weekend, tonight. Where I teach people to be in their bodies, to recognize like when they're in fight, when they're in rest and digest. We need to know our symptoms. By the way, if you hear any sort of sniffing, that's my dog. Just moved me.
Are you playing the blame game this morning? Are you blaming your dog?
David, that just moved me from neutral to threat.
I can't wait for this workshop this weekend. So by the way, we do have a workshop this weekend, Friday evening, all day Saturday, and half a day Sunday. And it's about experiential. It's about my wife and stepdaughter will be doing a lot of rhythm and music. And I'm excited about Saturday afternoon because that's what Dr. Ari is talking about, is presenting these tools. You said this multiple times, which is finally starting to get through to me, is that the first thing you have to do is you have to reconnect your mind to the body. Not that there was ever separation in the first place, but with our consciousness, we tend to go a different direction, and we do disconnect from our body. So you have to be able to feel what you feel. And so it's a total body response to the environment, with your brain processing the input and then translated it into a chemical reaction. But it's that chemical state that determines how you feel. I mean, your brain, your mind creates the reaction, but the reaction is that chemical state, and that's how you feel.
Yep. And I have you ready for my one-liners? It's one of my lessisms, I guess. And to feel better, you have to get better at feeling. To feel better, you have to get better at feeling. And you want to feel when you are moving into the threat. You want to feel what are you doing? Where are you? What helps you get into neutral? What gets you into that safety, that other feeling instead of that relaxation, right? So I think one of the things that most of us don't have the skills is we go from A to Z, but
Right.
it really doesn't show up for that. But I do want the audience to know is part of your skill in getting into pain recovery is to be able to know what state your nervous system is in.
Well, part of the problem is we don't like to feel threat, so we don't. And another lesson in which you resist will persist. So as you train your brain to be okay, as you train your brain to be okay with the pain, whether it's physical or mental, paradoxically, it resolves.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so that's the process. And there's a term, I think you used it or one of our speakers used it, is pendulation, where you
Yep.
don't just headlong plunge into it. It's not mind over matter. It's not about being tough, but
Yeah.
you learn what you can tolerate and you back up, tolerate it again, back up. And so it's like a deep water diver learning how to hold his or her breath for a long period of time. Doesn't
Mm.
happen on the first dive. And
Yep.
so it's that repetition that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So Dr. Arya, I am in a listening mood this morning, even though I've been talking most of the time. So I want to hear some wisdom from you. Okay, we've talked about the input,
Yeah.
and we have the nervous system's response to the input, and the response is that chemical state. So I'd like to talk about just the chemical state for me today. We have this workshop starting tonight. And so what can I do today to keep my body in neutral or safe? You don't have to be safe all the time, by the way. You just want to be safe enough to regenerate. Neutral is light. That's how you live your life.
Yeah.
So what are some of the tools that, just give me one or two tools today I can use to
Sure.
this guy tonight?
Sure. Probably one of the most things that I teach, the first step I teach my patients a skill set on how to get better from their pain, their anxiety, their depression, the things that have a stronghold on them. The first thing is awareness. And here is the biggest training skill you can ever do. Notice when there's a mood shift or tension that shows up. At that point, notice it where in the body.
Okay.
So it goes back to, so awareness is the key step to change because it's hard to change what you're not quite sure. We tend to focus on the pain but sometimes we have anxious thoughts, we have angry thoughts, or strong emotions. Come back home and notice it where in the body. When you notice something, you can simply ask yourself, am I feeling safe or not? And if you're not, what can you do? What's one thing can you do to shift you into safety? For how long? Just even for a few seconds. That is a training that you can build upon.
So right now, it's interesting because I'm excited about this evening's workshop, and we'll talk about this in the future. But there's a lot of anxiety with success. If you feel good, your body's not looking for danger and tends to sabotage you. So I have a little bit of anxiety around that. So I just drop my shoulders a little bit, and it just feel your shoulders, feel the chair. We call it active meditation. We actually used to do it during surgery all the time, and just feeling the instruments, just dropping your shoulders and just feeling and connecting to what is.
Yep.
So connect yourself to your body today. I think awareness is the key factor. You can't change what you don't know. And so the entire process that I work with, Les has his version of the process. It's all about allowing yourself to feel,
Yeah.
but you have to know how to feel before you can allow yourself to feel.
Better. Learn to feel. To get better, you have to get better at feeling.
So
To
what was
feel
that other
better,
lessism you just said? I like that one.
to feel better, you have to get better at feeling.
That
To
feeling. To
feel
feel
better,
better, you
you
have to
have to
get better
get
at
better
feeling.
at
Okay,
feeling.
there's my thought for the day.
Do you need, David, do you need a hug?
Yeah, I do. That would be good. All right. So we're excited about the workshop this evening. We would encourage you to join us. So you can just go to my website. You can go to the Open Center in New York. You can find how to sign on to the workshop. I think it's also on this Facebook page.
If you go to opencenter.org, opencenter.org, and in the search box, type in chronic pain, it pops up.
And I was telling Les that my wife and stepdaughter have two dance routines they put together, and they're sort of geniuses at dance routines. They're very skilled, very entertaining, and it's a lot of fun. So we look forward to maybe seeing you tonight. But we'll definitely see you on Monday. And again, every weekday morning at 7 a.m., we're with Dynamic Healing Moments. And the whole process is about dynamic healing. It's very interactive, very dynamic. And it changes by the second, and that's why we call it dynamic healing. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you on Monday.
See you guys.